Hello, welcome to Dad Puzzles. Today we have a special guest, Coach Kevin, and you know he's very big on helping teens and tweens, and I want us to really benefit today from learning, by learning from him about what led him to doing this, and also we can ask him some questions on how we can do better with our teens and tweens. So welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me, Doc. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background?
Sure. So I'm 44 years old. I just
Yes,
had a
sir.
birthday not too long ago.
Oh,
It's a
happy
big number
belated
for me.
birthday.
It's a
Yes,
big number for me, and it's a good one. And I'm super
yes.
excited about this year.
Mhm.
Tons of positive things happening.
Right.
But for me, I grew up in a standard family in New York. A family of five: mom, dad, sister, brother. Uh, my parents ended up getting divorced when I was about 8 years old.
Mhm.
And that sort of set my life on, it happened. I didn't know at that time it
Right.
was going to have a big impact on me.
Mhm.
But long story short, I grew up in New York, went to school in Boston,
Mhm.
and had a career in the music business, developed a career in real estate. And about 3 years ago now, had a huge transformation in my life that led me to seek out how I can have the greatest positive impact on as many people as possible
Mhm.
while I'm here on this earth.
Right.
And so I myself went through a coaching program, career coaching program, went through my skills and my passions
Mhm.
and my value add. And we hit the sweet spot of life coaching, and specifically for teens and tweens, because I'm in the thick of it. And I have a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
Mhm.
And this whole process of becoming a certified professional teen life coach has been just the most amazing thing that I've ever done in my life. I'm so happy that I was able to get over some of the things that were keeping me from making that switch.
Right.
I had to change my mind.
Right.
I had to rewire
Mhm.
some beliefs
Right.
and some programming that I had in my mind in order to get here. And it's been the most fulfilling, um, meaningful thing that I've done so far. And I'm so happy that I did, and I'm happy to be here talking with you.
Amazing. Amazing. This is good. So, somebody might ask, what was the switch? Because a lot of times the big switch for a lot of folks, it can be maybe like some career changes, or
Hmm.
like getting sick, or pandemic. Of course, it's been the ultimate
Yeah,
switch for a lot of folks.
right.
You
Yeah.
know.
Well, the pandemic certainly contributed to
Right.
my switch.
Hmm.
My switch, the big thing, the number one was,
Hmm.
I had to quit using alcohol.
Hmm.
And that was, I was done.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it for a long time, probably too
Hmm.
much.
Hmm.
I'm a very social person, very friendly.
Right.
It was just a part of life. You go out, you socialize, you hang out with friends,
Hmm.
couples,
Right.
and it's part of your life. And until uh, it helps in certain social situations. Getting control of anxiety and things going out, but then it starts to hurt
Right.
after that. And it's not, and then you don't do it because of it's a social
Hmm.
thing. You do it because, especially through COVID,
Right.
you're not being social anymore, and
Hmm.
then you're just drinking alcohol for no reason, right?
Man.
So I had to stop all that.
Hmm.
And when I did, it was the best decision I ever made. It helped me gain control of my life, control of my thoughts, and really helped me gain some clarity on what's important in life.
Oh, that's
And
amazing.
that was the big thing.
Hmm.
That was the big thing, because when I stopped all that, I could start to drown out the noise, and I could start to hear my inner narrative, and I could start to hear, what's going on in here.
Right.
What are these thoughts that I'm having that are causing me to want to use this substance to hold those thoughts down,
Right.
to
Right.
keep them down, to change the subject,
Hmm. Right.
you know. And so that was the thing that started this amazing train rolling in the right direction.
Hmm.
And I highly recommend it. If there's somebody's out there
Hmm.
that has toyed with the idea of, what would happen if I didn't drink this weekend?
Hmm.
What would happen if I took a month off or 2 months or take the summer off? See what
Right.
happens.
Hmm. There you go.
You know,
But
that's a good
man,
start.
like do you like keep count of the number of time, like the day so far? You know how folks they have.
I mean, August 21,
Yeah.
August 23, 2021.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
my day.
Okay. Okay.
So that's my birthday. now,
Yes. Okay.
and so we celebrate.
There you go.
I have a big cake,
Right.
delicious.
There you go,
The one day a year I eat cake. It's good.
my friend. My friend.
Um, that's so yeah, I celebrate that, and I don't keep track every day, but I could do the math if you want.
There you go. That's it. That's it. Awesome.
So yeah, if they had the ability to, work on their portfolio, their personal online branding portfolio, uh, you know, through the educational process in school, that might give them just enough motivation, and give them just enough hope that this whole thing is going to work and it's all going to be successful. That they approach school and learning in a new light, with a better attitude.
Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. To positively, like leverage the social media instead of using it for porn and bullying and all those bad stuff.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
amazing.
Let's
What
use it
about
as a tool because yeah.
Go ahead, my friend.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, please. So I was wondering, how, like, say, what are the resources that parents that you recommend that should, you know, look into to be able to raise their teens and tweens better?
Well, the resources. Yeah, there's tons of books out there.
Right.
There's tons of resources, tons of parent coaches, tons of people
Right.
like me out there
Yes.
doing it.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, I'm going to put in the shameless plug of
Yes.
go to
Please.
lifecoachkevin.com.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
lifecoachkevin.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also on Instagram, lifecoachkevin.
Awesome.
But
Now,
seriously, but learning, educating themselves, and so parents are funny because we know we don't have all the answers, and a lot of us are learning as we're going, and
mhm,
also a lot of us, the only way we know how to be parents is from how our parents parented us,
right,
and the way they know how to be parents is by how their parents parented them.
right,
So now we're talking about back in the early 1900s, and times have changed. So I think parents, in order to really help their kids, need to look at life through their child's eyes and imagine what it is their child is feeling and what it must feel like to be living in your child's shoes, and view it from their perspective, because parents get so caught up in expectations and well, I want my child to grow up and be a doctor or a lawyer or a humanitarian or whatever the expectation is
right,
based on your parents' beliefs. But the child, that they already know, they have a vision. They have a vision and they have a path. And whether they know it or not, it's in there. It's in their subconscious. And working with either a professional or parents, if you want to develop the skill set to be really, 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 really good listeners and try and determine it, what is it exactly that their student or your child are trying to tell you. That's probably the number one thing is being a good listener.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, it's funny you mentioned that because I think most of the folks can relate to this. When we grow up, we want to do something, but then sometimes parents have a better idea to redirect you. I don't know how much of the redirections you recommend for parents to do, because some kids, they grow up with a regret, like, oh, I
Mm.
meant to do this, but my
Yeah,
my dad told me to do this,
yeah,
and I mean, the parents can have a great idea because maybe we have lived the real life and we have seen
mm,
what is working, what is not.
yeah.
But is it something that that you recommend, or this is something that you think coaches should be playing part, should be play part a little bit with kids?
Yeah, no, I think parents always want to impart their opinions on their kiddos in hopes of giving their kid a leg up,
Hmm.
giving their kid some knowledge and some education that they wish they had when they were younger.
Hmm.
Um, but I think really what the parents' job is to listen to their child, to figure out what it is that they see, like what is their vision, what is their passion, and then for the parent to say,
Right.
okay, well, if that is your path,
Hmm.
you should probably explore this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
Our job is to help our kids figure out their passions,
Right.
because once they're passionate about something, sky's the limit.
Right.
If they're passionate about it, they're going to be the best at it. That's just how it is.
Right.
You love something, well, then that's it. Go love it. Go do it. Do it the best you can.
Yes, sir.
But, if you're fighting, to do something that you don't like, well, that's not fun. That's not any way to live life,
Right.
So you want to give your kid the best life possible. Help them figure out what they love to do. Help them figure out their passions, and put your resources into sending them, to a camp for those passions, or to a school for those passions, or
Right.
a home projects, or, whatever it is that's going to help them figure out what they want to do.
I know this is a big challenge. It's easy for us to say because
Mm-hmm.
I know, like for many cultures or families, they know the child is good at something and the child loves something, but they look at the reality. They force them to study something else, thinking that this will give them a better life.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reality, unfortunately. But so
Yeah. So they
hopefully,
want to study medicine, and then they go have, $400,000 in student loans to pay off, and they don't like medicine.
then they don't become good doctors. It's just all those
Right.
things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
My friend, no, it's a big challenge. I really
It
hope
is a challenge.
that
Yeah.
parents hearing this can, if they still want to push their kid to do something. I know, for instance, I don't want to mention my friends. I have friends from from a certain culture. They say they'll push their kids to do either engineer or medicine or IT. This is a cultural thing.
Yeah.
And those are the three major things. So if you
Yeah.
don't do that, you're, I don't know. So people that are going into arts or music or whatever, they get looked upon like you're a loser or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that we need to, if you think that that is the best thing for you to do as a parent, you still should nurture whatever love they have. If it's some, make it as a, people have double majors, three, you know what I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
you can have it as a minor or whatever, but still have them do what they like so that they can have that love, you know
Absolutely. Yeah. The passion,
yes.
there's no reason you can't, uh, you know, uh, be interested in IT and
Right.
art and
Right.
music and
Right.
fashion and business and real
Right.
estate and all that.
Yes.
Who says that you, out of however many people there are in the world, 1 billion people in the world, have to be a doctor or have to be IT?
Right.
We're all different, and
Right.
we
Right.
all have different DNA, and we all have a
Exactly.
different path, and we all have a different
Right.
vision. I
Right.
appreciate that families and parents in particular want to guide their kids to have the best life possible.
Absolutely.
Uh,
It's like, for instance, now if you look at AI and social media, you can think about, oh yeah, wait a second, my kids, they should know AI. So you kind of trying to take them to all these, those you want them to kind of know more about this, learn about this, take courses about it. Nowadays they even offer programs in MIT and all this, like this these are the big universities. So you can kind of push your kids into maybe look into these things because you see this is the future, that's the reality. But if they still love something else, you can still have them, like you mentioned now, that they still can see other things that we know as parents that has been working. Awesome, my friend.
mhm.
So boss, do you have any examples maybe like you can share from your coaching experience, from your coaching experience, that you show it, from this is before, this is after, what's going on?
Yeah, sure. There are a few different ones. The probably the one that sticks out the most in my mind is one from last earlier
Of
in the
course, it's
winter.
not going to be details. I'm sorry to put you on
No,
the
no,
spot.
I'll leave out the
It
names. That's
doesn't
okay.
have to be
Uh,
the exact
so
details.
here's what happened. So mom called me. She said, "Coach Kevin, my son is highly depressed,
Hmm.
and he's been in therapy. He's been going to therapy for a year and a half, and he won't get out of bed, and he won't go to school, and he's very unhappy. It's making me scared. It's making me sad. His dad and I have done everything, given him everything that we think can help him, and we just don't know what to do. We don't know what to do, and can you help us?" And so I chatted with him. We had a brief conversation. We started to build some rapport. We actually became friends on the first call, which is very important.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm really good at what I do, is because I can build rapport with the kids, because I know what video games they're playing. I know what music they're listening to. I kind of know what they're thinking already. So we make fast friends. And then we figured out that while he was in bed in the morning, before he even opened up his eyes, he had some thoughts that he wasn't good enough and that he was never going to make it. And so we had to get to the bottom of it.
Right.
Why are you having these thoughts?
Hmm.
And once we did, we worked on some exercises and some activities that helped to train his mind to
Hmm.
get rid of those thoughts. Well, not get rid of them, but replace them
Right.
with thoughts and beliefs that were empowering, thoughts that were going to help him be constructive and reach his goals. So instead of waking up and thinking to himself, "I'm never going to make it,"
Hmm.
now his thought, he wakes up before he even opens his eyes, is, I'm one of the luckiest people in the world, and when I practice my techniques, I'm going to be the best. And another thought he had was he's never going to make it, and then we changed that thought to, uh, when I complete my work, I am going to make it.
Right.
When I get this thing done, I am going to make it. All I have to do is do the thing that's in my way. The obstacle is the way. There's a book about it. You have to
Right.
do the hard thing, the thing in your life that you don't want to do right now, the thing that's really just weighing you down and holding you back. That's the thing you have to do.
Right.
And once you do that, on the other side of that is when you grow and when you take the
Right.
next step. So if you feel stuck, think about the thing that you don't want to do, and then just go do it. And then on the other side, you're going to get unstuck.
That's
And
amazing.
so,
So,
so he was a sophomore, no, sorry, junior in high school at the time. And by the end of our 6 weeks together, he was applying to colleges. And so he applied to some schools in California, some in Arizona, and a couple state schools in the Midwest where he's from. And now he's going to go into IT,
nice.
but also with a minor in fashion design.
Including everything that he likes. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I told him to figure out the algorithm where he could
Right.
sell his high-end fashion,
Right.
to these top designers, and do the marketing, and he's big on affiliate marketing too. So we're trying to build
Nice.
a path based on his vision and
Right.
based on things that he wants to achieve in his lifetime.
That's amazing,
And
my brother.
once you have those goals,
Hmm.
figuring out the steps to achieve them is easy. You know,
Amazing. So you see, that's the power of affirmations, and also the power, of just making sure that we don't kill their dream.
yeah.
Have it. If you don't want it as a primary, make it as a
Ne-
secondary. Like you
Never
just
kill a
did.
dream. Never kill a dream. Keep going, because the dream's there for a reason.
Right.
It's in there for a reason. So
Right.
keep
Right.
going. Go after it. Don't stop. Don't ever
That's
stop.
right. Amazing,
Never give up. Never give up.
man. So, boss, what's the piece of advice that you would like to for every parent to have, regarding kids? The teens, teens and
I
tweens.
mean, it's a big one. It's a
Yes, sir.
big one. It's a
Yeah.
big one. If I,
Uh-huh.
and most parents might listen to this and say, "There's no way I can do that." But the piece of advice is, take all those expectations
Hmm.
you have about the future of your child, and throw them out the window, and let them be the person they were meant to be, and guide them along the way. Don't tell them what to do. Ask them what they're going to do.
And explore together.
Let them make the choices. Yeah,
Right.
explore it together. Be their teammate. Be their teammate. Be their cheerleader. Be their confidant. Be their
Mhm.
coach.
Right. That's amazing.
That's what I would say.
That's amazing. Yes, because it's very interesting because we all, as parents, every time you think of them, oh yeah, oh she's very smart, oh she's very argumentative, maybe she can do law or whatever. You think about things that in the future, like maybe she can do something. But great, but
Mhm.
like you said, it's good. Take them to school, see what they like in school, what's working, and adjust and readjust as you go until they reach their dreams. That's amazing, brother.
Yeah, I
Now,
think
do
that's
you
what
have
it's
any
all about.
hacks that you would like to share in terms of dealing the ups and downs of teens and twin life?
For a parent,
Yes,
a
actually, I
parent
had
hack. Yeah.
I had a guest that he had asked me. I would like to know how to deal with the teens and twins. This is the
Mm.
truth, and I'll definitely tag him on
Hmm.
this talk. So this is
Yeah,
the answer that
tag him on.
specifically will help.
The number one thing that
Yes,
parents can do to well, there's a bunch of things that I
right,
think the number
right,
one thing
uh
that
huh,
parents can do is practice self care and take care of themselves, so that their cup is overflowing,
hmm,
so that your cup is overflowing, so you can give as much as you can to your kids. But you
mm.
can't give if your
If you
cup
don't
isn't
have,
full. You can't give if your cup's not full. If you have a hole draining out of your bucket, you're never going to fill it up. So you got to work on yourself first.
hmm,
And, exercise, diet, and sleep. Like those are the pillars, right?
right,
So, I wear one of these things. Like I track it all.
right,
It's you got to keep track of it. It's a job in order to keep yourself at peak performance, so you can help as many people as you can, as many kids as you have. So that would be number one, is to take care of yourself, self care, and number two is to breathe often,
hmm,
and be very mindful about your breath, and use it instead of making a reaction to whatever it is your kids are doing to trigger an emotional response. Because when you can breathe instead of reacting emotionally, and you give your mind time to process the emotional piece of it through the limbic system to get to the smart part where you're able to reason and make good decisions. If you can
right,
breathe through all that and then have a response instead of a reaction,
right.
I think that will help the conversation with your teen or tween go in a positive direction.
That's amazing, brother. Coach, I would like to have one, another just question, random question about boundaries with kids. Especially
Mm-hmm.
their age. Boundaries is a huge thing. Don't enter my room. Don't do this. Like it's almost they're putting the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to be their friends and everything, but there's a wall because of the age and everything else, and the styles. Oh, it's not cool. You know. So how do you address that, my friend?
Boundaries are important.
Yeah.
Boundaries. Everybody's got to set boundaries for
Right.
themselves. As a kiddo, if you want to have your door shut and you don't want to be interrupted, if you want to be treated, the teen or tween probably wants to be treated with respect and have the door knocked on, wait for a response, like anybody else, and then open the door.
Right.
That's a boundary. That's a rule that teen can set. Parents can set boundaries of grades at school. And if grades fall between this certain level, here are the things that we have to do. Then we have to go to a tutor. We have to do less screen time. We have to do more studying. Um, Setting boundaries is very important, and having those laid out and discussed, and ultimately, and most importantly, agreed on, so that we don't have expectations, but we have agreements.
Mm.
So we know it's almost like having a contract. We know what everybody's jobs and responsibilities and roles are,
Right.
and we know that if we cross this line, this is what's going to happen. Every choice has a consequence, and every consequence will have a result. So, yeah, laying out those boundaries and making sure they're clear is very important.
That's amazing. So have you looked into the? I haven't looked into it yet, but the schools and the like different programs, they normally have a nurse. They have a like the teacher, their advising team, whatever. Now, have you looked into, let's say, how they can integrate coaching with different schools and stuff?
I haven't really dove into that yet. I
Okay.
haven't dove into that yet. Yeah.
Right.
Um, I know that in public school settings, there's probably a lot of
Resources.
qualifications and paperwork and resources and stuff you have to go through to get that done.
Right.
But there's after school programs that I've been working through locally through like a local Parks and Rec department,
Hmm.
people that offer programs after
Right.
school.
Okay.
That's where I see teens and tweens
I see. I see.
in person and remotely
Hmm.
as a part of an after school program. But I haven't yet seen it integrated into public schools.
Okay.
Of course, they have their counselors, and
Right.
they have their guidance counselors
Right.
and their admin team there that helps
Hmm.
guide kids. But
Right.
unfortunately, I think that the public school system in particular, they're bound. They have their boundaries too with the state, and their kiddos have to get certain test scores on these state tests. Otherwise, the money doesn't go necessarily where it should go. So,
Right.
they have a lot of responsibilities on that end too. And I think, I think the number one thing that I would like to see really, really, really pushed is to add, coaching into the school programming,
Hmm.
uh, or at least have it be more more readily recommended to
Hmm.
kiddos instead of therapy. Because in my opinion, therapy is great and it's a great tool. But
Hmm.
a lot of people are in therapy that don't need therapy. A
Hmm.
lot of people are in therapy that uh, and they're focused on a problem. They're focused on the past. Something that's happened before that's making them feel a certain way.
Hmm.
But what if I can make you feel great by talking about the future?
Right.
What if I can make you feel great by focusing on your goals and your passions and things you like to do? And yeah, if you want to dig down deep and figure out why this other person made you feel that way,
Right.
that's okay. But that's out of our control. Number one, it's in the past. Number two, it's another person.
Right.
So, let's work on ourselves and let's work on our thoughts and let's change our thoughts to hold us up, to lift us up, and be a launching pad for our future and our path.
Chief, you have answered this question really well, and I think is almost the alternative answer to what I had asked. One of our second guest, uh, when I had asked him what is the best thing that dads can do, and he said we have to live our best life, because if we do live our best life, then we can impact our kids.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
this is alternatively what you just mentioned. We
Yeah.
have to have our cup full. Whether it's
Cup
health,
full. Yeah.
and everything
Self-care,
else. Yes.
everything. Yep. Yeah,
Yes,
100%.
sir.
And there's so many tools out there to do it. I
Yeah.
listen to all these podcasts. I don't know if you're a fan of Andrew Huberman, the
Yes.
5 pillars,
Hmm.
the sunlight in your eyes in the morning, the cold
Right.
exposure, the
Hmm.
exercise, the eating and all that. But the other
Amazing.
thing that dads can do, and this is like a number two right here.
Uh-huh.
This is really important for connection with the kids is you have
Right.
to sit down with them
Hmm.
and start to enjoy what they enjoy. If
Right.
they enjoy playing a game, well, you better sit down and start loving that game, because that in the middle of that game is when you're going to have that connection. If they like to skateboard, sorry, dad, you're going to have to build a skateboard ramp and you're going to, you have to get some knee pads and start skateboarding
Right. Right.
because that's the way you're going to connect with your kids. That's the way you're going to build that bond that's going to last a lifetime, and then you're a team.
Mm.
And then you're a team, and then they respect you and they listen to you,
Mhm.
and you can really foster a sense of, I got you,
Right.
and then and then there's no limit to what you guys can accomplish together.
Hmm. My friend, so there's a I'm glad that that we have spoken, because there were two things that were lingering to me, like right now, in terms of the anxiety and depression that these kids are feeling. How do you deal with that? And I think you mentioned the example how you kind of like it's good to try to have the help of a coach like yourself.
Hmm.
But if somebody cannot afford that, how do they
Yeah,
address these issues?
yeah. I think that the number one thing is being a good listener,
Mm.
and I think you need to ask open-ended questions
Right.
about how they're feeling, about what happened, and say, well, why do you have that thought? or what is the thought? What's the thought that keeps happening in your mind?
Mm-hmm.
Or explain to them, this is normal. Like I have this little internal narrative, this like voice in my head
Right.
that tells me that, when I walk into a crowded room that I think somebody's looking at me or I think
Mm.
somebody's thinking about me,
Right.
just lay it out there, tell them
Right.
because it's normal. Everybody has that.
Right.
So, what is that thought that you keep having?
Mm-hmm.
What is that thought when you're in that situation, when you're getting off the bus at school? What is the thought that you have that keeps you from wanting to go in the door? And then let's listen to it. And so, asking the right questions and then listening. Well, I don't like it because when I get off the bus, I go right to my homeroom and I have this bully there, that calls me names. And then, if I want to talk to a teacher, he overhears what I'm saying and, he'll tell my other friends later and I don't want him to do that. So that's why I don't like going in there. There's all these different scenarios that happen, but asking the right questions and then listening to the answer. I'm sorry, it's such a simple answer to your question, but
Mm-hmm.
being aware that that's a power that parents have that they can use, and it's
Right.
underutilized. Usually parents use their voice to nag or ask about homework or say get ready, we got to go to the game. Get your equipment and your things ready and let's go. Um, not all the time do we ask those questions about how does it make you feel when you get together with that friend, or how does it make you feel that that teacher gave that assignment to you. Um, those sorts of things, and just listening actively to the answer is usually the most helpful.
That's amazing, brother. I know we can chat and chat for a long time.
We
And
could go,
like for
yeah.
instance, there's something that comes to my mind right now. You have parenting, like different parenting. You have some parents. They say they're very, like everything is clear cut from the beginning. They're very straightforward and army like and everything, and the kids they grow up to be that and all these things.
Mhm.
They know about internet. Let's say like during like time to eat, or like let's say at 7 p.m. or something, it's very old school. They'll remove the internet. They disconnect the internet and all these things.
Mhm.
And kids they listen and they do these things because they do everything with their dad. They exercise together, they do all these
Mhm.
things. So for a parent that hasn't been doing any of this, and now all of a sudden now they want to do better, so how
Mhm.
do they fix this issue with the technology? you
Mhm.
know because kids nowadays, most of the time, they're glued into this, and
Mhm.
you need to have the time with them. So
Yeah.
how do you address that if you've been, so I'm sorry to use the language, soft all this time?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you're trying to
Yeah.
switch up and do a
Yeah.
better job to address the gap of connection. So
Yeah.
how do you
I
fix
think
that?
I think the way well, you have to start slow, start
Mhm.
small. It's not going
Right,
to happen overnight.
right,
It's something that and eventually they're going to grow out of it
right.
anyway, right?
Hmm.
So I think that the first thing is to provide an alternative. To
Hmm.
provide a fun
Okay.
alternative that's engaging for them that you all can participate in. Or maybe it's just you and the one child, or maybe they have siblings, or maybe it's a family event, or maybe it's you 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 know maybe they are interested in um, animation.
Hmm.
Helping them to find a group of folks, whether it's an after school club or some other group that has art classes to help stimulate that love of animation.
Hmm.
The offline thing, and your time with them is in the car ride there.
Okay.
That's when you're asking those questions. Uh, you know, anything a parent can do to get them from behind the screen uh, into a situation where they're socializing IRL, with other people their age,
Hmm.
and also working towards their passion
Right.
is like the perfect thing.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you. I think that's a great idea
Love
because
it.
I did not think about that. I just thought about, wow, it would be very hard for a parent that hasn't been doing this. And nowadays, it's a person that is fully an addict, because trust me, that's, to get from that addiction is not
Mhm.
going to be easy. They're going to be
Mhm.
more, you know, like easily irritated and all these things.
Mhm.
Like you cannot just cut off
Yeah.
immediately this thing. So
Yeah.
I
No,
guess
you have
they
to wean it. You have to definitely wean it off.
yeah.
And there's some programs. I have friends that run summer camps, like
Hmm.
detox camps, for
Right.
kiddos that are highly addicted. It's a
Hmm.
4-week program. No screens, no tech. They're doing horseback riding and growing a garden and doing campfires and s'mores and fishing and all that
Hmm.
stuff. And that's a more intensive sort of detox. But every half hour, every hour, you can cut down little by little. Start with 1 hour this week. You want to eliminate 1 hour screen time this week? Start with that other program. Start by taking a walk.
Amazing. Yeah, work is amazing, my friend.
Yeah, it's
people
easy.
people easy to talk, but when you do it,
Yeah,
it's such a good feeling, my brother. Yes, sir.
it is. It really is.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Coach, that was a gold mine of information. I truly appreciate you.
Thanks, Doc. I
How can
appreciate
folks,
that.
my friend, how can they find you, my friend? Hmm.
Lifecoachkevin.com.
Okay.
Also on Instagram at lifecoachkevin. Facebook is Teen Life Coach.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm happy to do free consultations for parents that have some concerns. If you're a good parent, and I know you have a ton of good parents
Right.
listening, if you see red flags, if you're concerned and you're worried and you're confused or you're frustrated,
Right.
that's normal. We got a problem with our kiddos. There's some
Right.
stuff going on,
Hmm.
but that's okay. It's growing pains, and it takes a village. And um, I'm a resource here to help you figure out, well, what results do you want to see from your kiddo? Do you want them to make more friends? Do you want them to get better grades? You want them to excel at sports? You name it. Let's talk about what you want to see,
Hmm.
and we will put together a customized program to get you guys there.
Oh, that's amazing. So, and for all of you parents, keep up the good work, and I will definitely see you into the next episode. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, guys.